They told us Australia was built on law, but the deeper you look, the more you see it isn't law at all. It's a legal illusion stitched together to look real while hiding the truth. So let's pull the thread, start with land. Even the Australian Law Dictionary admits it. Land here can't be owned by anyone. Not the people, not even the king or queen. The Crown holds radical title, a fancy way of saying ultimate permission. Everything else is tenure, lease, or conditional title. You don't own it. You borrow it inside their system. So if the people don't own the land, who does? That's where the rabbit hole deepens. For decades after Federation, the so-called highest court in Australia wasn't even in Australia. It was the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council in London, a royal advisory body to the monarch, not an elected government. Unelected lords and appointees across the ocean had the final say over Australians. Our High Court could be overturned by men in wigs in England. That's not sovereignty, that's colonial control. Even when the Statute of Westminster was adopted in 1942, it didn't break the chain. It just backdated autonomy on paper. Then in 1953, the Royal Style and Titles Act invented the Queen of Australia as a separate title for Elizabeth. But that was a corporate rebrand, not a referendum. And finally, in 1986, the Australia Act severed appeals to the Privy Council and declared the states independent. But again, no referendum. The people weren't asked. Parliament and the Crown stitched it up behind closed doors. The highest authority simply shifted from London's Privy Council to Canberra's corporate parliament, but always above the people. Every stage, 1900, 1942, 1953, 1986, was done without consent. The pattern never changes. Law by decree, never law by the people. And here's the core of it. Law is paperwork. It's a system of contracts and permissions to keep you thinking freedom is something granted. Law, on the other hand, is older. Law says you can't own the earth. You're a custodian, not a landlord. That's why indigenous law was silenced, because it couldn't be monetized. So how deep does the rabbit hole go? Deep enough that ownership is a lie. Deep enough that every act of sovereignty was forged in Parliament or the Privy Council without you. Deep enough that nothing here is lawful, only legal. The law they built is a house of mirrors. But law, the truth of the land, the people, and the spirit, doesn't need a referendum, a Privy Council, or a Crown signature to exist. It just is. That's the bottom of the rabbit hole. Australia isn't free until law collapses and law is remembered.